Hi, my friends. This is Jay Madhav. Hope you're doing well. I wanted to record a little video on tinnitus and specifically talk about some of the medications, including something some people think is controversial. I don't know, Ambien or some type of sleeping pill. Now, here's the thing: doctors generally don't want to and are not accustomed to prescribing Ambien because it's an insomnia treatment for long-term use. So some won't even prescribe it at all. In fact, I'm dual Canadian U.S. citizen, so I spend time in Canada because my parents live there, but I live in the U.S. Canadian doctors won't even prescribe Ambien. Actually, correction to that. If you go see a Canadian doctor who's a sleep specialist and tell him you have tinnitus, he will subscribe. He will prescribe it. Any other doctor won't prescribe it. That's just been my experience because there's just been too many incidents of bad side effects, overdoses, deaths, and this and that. Just like there have been with the the opioids and stuff like this. Now, this pisses me off actually because this is I think this is inappropriate and poor medicine when the doctor is practicing. When you have bad chronic tinnitus, and you can't sleep and it's ringing like a freight train and you're suffering and you're up all night and you can't function and think and you can't go to work the next day and you can't do shit. You have a medical condition, bro, that needs medical intervention. And doctors should go, okay, we don't like the fact that this guy has to take Ambien and that we have to prescribe it. But this motherfucker has to get through life with some sort of quality of life. Okay? Now, I'm being a little inflammatory here because this is a sensitive topic to me and others that I've spoken to. But anyways, I don't take it. I took it, but I've had tinnitus for 7 years. So I've habituated, and if it's loud or not loud, I'll just sleep. Anyways, if it's loud, it means I'll just listen to it for 15 minutes and the mind will wander and I'll just fall asleep. But I've gotten to that stage. I can sleep I don't need to mask, I don't need to do anything. Okay, but having said that, I probably am alive today because of Ambien in the first 2-3 years where I suffered the most. With tinnitus, again, I have it bilaterally 24/7, 365. Okay. Some of you have it to that degree and some of you don't. I think it's very reckless and irresponsible for doctors to not prescribe something to ease someone's suffering and pain in life. I get that they're skeptical. They think a lot of people are looking for a high and they're abusing it. And actually, there are people that do. But that wasn't my case, and that's not the case for everyone. And I've just found that, again, as I've said it before, so I'm not going to revisit it other than saying the medical profession doesn't really know anything about tinnitus. So not taking a chronic tinnitus sufferer who's debilitated, like I was and many of you are, and excuse me, pumpkin seeds, debilitated and really disabled, quite honestly, in life. I had hyperacusis too. So for the first few years, I didn't even really leave my house, hardly, outside of work, no social life. I had so much ear pain at the lowest volumes, I couldn't even watch a Netflix movie or listen to music, even at probably like 20, 30 decibels. But anyways, my story this was already out there. So it pisses me off because it's akin to like a cancer patient, a terminally ill cancer patient in severe pain, not being given strong pain medication, be they opioids or whatever. I don't know that much about that particular area of medical science and pharmacology, but it's like a doctor not prescribing something for that person. So that motherfucker has to sit there And why are they gonna even just be alive? Just kill yourself. You know what I mean? Tinnitus, you're gonna do. Why would you want to live? You know, I probably wouldn't be alive today if I didn't have a couple of years worth of Ambien to at least be able to calm me down, take the edge off, um, reduce the anxiety, get some sleep at night, and so on and so forth. Now, I do think once you habituate, it's to your benefit for many reasons, health wise, cognitively, and otherwise, to have a strategy and a plan in place to wean yourself off of it. It doesn't mean that because you have tinnitus and you've been taking Ambien for a year or two that you have to take it for the rest of your life. I thought that at one point. Oh crap, I'm going to be on this crap shit for the rest of my life. Wake up sleepy every day, go to work with a headache every morning, and if I could even get to work, and so on and so forth. But I've already realized that I actually don't need it every day. And even if it's loud, I'll get a few hours of sleep. I'll make it to work. Life will be fine. Life goes on. It's all good. So, but the point is, doctors. Well, here's the point. I'm not speaking to doctors. I'm speaking to patients. Okay, because I'm talking from my firsthand experience. You are responsible for your own quality of life and your own health and your own well-being and your own suffering and lack of suffering to a large extent. So if you can't find a doctor that gives you something that you feel genuinely that you need to cope, even if it's an acute situation for some period of time, then you've got to go shopping around and make sure you find someone. The difficulty is people don't understand it, tinnitus, and they just don't want to prescribe stuff. And for some people, some of the anxiety medications helped. Again, I don't think there's anyone that wants to sit there taking Xanax and Ambien every day of their life. I mean, doctors, I mean, come on, man, get a grip. But if you knew what we were going through as severe tinnitus sufferers, you might want to go, let's have a little heart in a bedside manner, and let's see what we can give this person, at least even if it's just some limited quantity. So on the really bad days, they can just not suffer as much and get through the night. And, you know, life is hard enough as it is. When you got something like that comes into your life, why have some medical professional now not cooperate and make it even worse? And I get it. I get the governing bodies. I get everyone is watching you. The pharmacies are watching what's being prescribed and to whom and by who, how many doctors, and in what dosages and how many refills. I get all that. I'm not talking about people that are drug addicts or want to be high all the time and feel no pain and suffering in life. Because the pain and suffering in life is there for every human being, whether you have tinnitus or not. That goes with life. All I'm saying is when someone has a medical condition and there's something that they can be given to help them cope with it, okay? I mean, for fuck's sake, you've got something where you know how many doctors I've been to in the first 2-3 years. And by the way, tinnitus has cost me about $100,000 US dollars. But anyways, I'm only thinking the last year I've actually financially caught up. Just because you go through the whole process, see all the doctors do this, that. Someone says try this, someone says try that. The herbal things, it doesn't work. It's a whole industry. It's a scam. But anyways, I'm getting off topic here. Yeah, then you should go and find a doctor who's going to give you something to help it work. You may that doctor may need to be a psychiatrist because they're generally a little more, I found, flexible at understanding correlations between physical illnesses and ailments and psychological and mood related effects of that. In other words, the mind body connection and the association between the two. And regular doctors, at least in the United States, don't seem to know shit about that. So you have to go see a psychiatrist. There's no shame in this. Okay, I don't know. If you're depressed and you have anxiety because you have tinnitus, you should be. I mean, 90%. That makes sense. If someone tells you you have cancer and you're dying, you can't do anything about it, you're going to get depressed, you're going to have anxiety, you're not going to be able to sleep. That's a normal reaction. So if someone says you have tinnitus, if you go and you have tinnitus, you get like mood issues, and I'm enjoying life and the quality of life and this and that. Go see the right people and get the medication and find a way. You can't get rid of the tinnitus, but you can do something, even if it's just temporarily needed, to improve your quality of life. You owe it to yourself to do that. You owe it to your family members to do that, and everyone else that has to interact with you in the world, and your dependents and so on. But you're responsible. You're responsible for that. Don't think that doctors are going to be just going to go, oh yeah, okay, here you go. I have to sit there and educate them on why I'm making this request and why it's necessary, and that's what more can I say? The reason why I'm by the way pissed off and I'm recording this video at this point in time is because I very recently from some of my other videos, one of which I posted about 2 months ago, was contacted by a very young lady, distraught, who was actually contemplating suicide. And I had to talk her down from that and give her hope and tell her my story and stuff like that. And and she's actually alive and still suffering, but doing much, much better today. She's only had tinnitus for about 6 months, I think, less than a year. So she hasn't really gone to the habituation stage and all of that just yet. So I know exactly what she was going through. I'm very privileged. Well, I'm happy, first of all, that she saw a post and reached out to me, sent me an email, and I gave her my phone number, and we communicate regularly on the phone, and I make sure she's doing okay. She's young. She's a grad student. She's got her whole life ahead of her. Smart young lady. I mean, but she got afflicted with tinnitus at a young age. It's not the end of your life. It's not the end of your quality of life. She could. I had to kind of explain this to her, and it's my opinion, but because she's in a very bad, dark place. I said, you'll get past this, and it might take a few years, but you got a whole life ahead of you, of a great career, probably a marriage and children and a great family and everything else. Not a perfect life, because it doesn't exist for anyone. But a lot of good things to come. I mean, you have to look at it optimistically and realistically. And so after communicating with her now over, maybe less than a half a dozen times over the last few months, I just feel like I'm really inspired to continue to go down the path of doing whatever my small part is that I can do to help people improve their situation when they have tinnitus, because I've been through a lot with it. I've learned a lot. Unfortunately, I didn't have good resources when I got it for first few years. No resources. Like, I didn't know anyone that had it. I didn't know anyone that heard of it. I thought I was absolutely bonkers and I'm the only person in the world that has this, and there's something uniquely wrong with me, and so on and so forth. And then I found out, no, it's not the case. I'm not alone. And now I hear from people pretty regularly, and I tell them, you're also not alone. And I strongly believe for probably 90 or 95% of cases, although you can't cure tinnitus, I think it's treatable. In the sense, like you may be diabetic and you may be for the rest of your life, but it doesn't mean it has to ruin your life, ruin your quality of life, and you have to die from it, right? It's treatable. In fact, even let's take HIV as an example these days. That's not a death sentence either these days. There's no cure, but I actually know medical professionals, well, researchers and scientists in the field of infectious diseases, and it appears to be very treatable. So I'm just trying to use other examples like as metaphors to correlate that this you can have this thing and you can. Unfortunately, you're going to struggle a lot because you got to find the lifestyle changes and the resources and the tools and the combination of things that work for you. Lifestyle changes. Can you go out to noisy places? Do foods irritated? Do allergies irritated? Do medications, can medications help you? Okay, do we want to take the medications? What's the risk versus the reward of that? And is exercise a good thing? Is maybe meditation helpful? I mean, the list goes on and on. I have found a combination, the hard way, a long, painful journey. And I'm almost thankful for that because it's made me a better person and a stronger person and much more sympathetic and understanding of other people's situations and needs and so on and so forth. So I look at it as, you know, oftentimes something very shitty can happen in life that seems like miserably tragic that could years later you might look back at it and find out that saying it's a blessing in disguise is probably an exaggeration, but to use another cliche, there can be a silver lining. So I'll end it on that. I would like your comments because I learn from my own personal experiences, and I also learn from your shared experiences with me. That combination of information helps me go off and talk to others, particularly on this mission that I have been pursuing for several years now, which is looking for people who are, well, being open to talking to people who are where tinnitus is new to them. So they're still in that very freak out mode. And a lot of you know exactly, what I'm talking about. So I'm Jay. As always, thanks for listening.